This just in, and we know nothing about this car. Let's get started. Yes, we know it's a BMW. We see the emblem up front. It's a BMW. It's actually a 2004 BMW 525i. This customer actually called Crazy D in the office a couple of weeks ago and set up a time to bring this. He was very busy. He had like 6 other customers in the office. He said, hey, get a piece of paper, write down all your concerns, write down your name and phone number, everything that we need. And when you bring the car, have the paper with you. That way we can get a hold of you and we know what we're looking at. This customer dropped off the car, and that's as far as they went. We have no paperwork. We have nothing. The customer did advise that they would be dropping it off after hours. That's why Crazy D gave that advice to leave the key in the key drop and leave us some paperwork so we know what we're looking at. We have no paperwork and we have nothing. So if this is your car, please call the office so we can talk to you about what's wrong with your car, because as it sits, I don't know who you are. I have no idea what's wrong with your car. But it's here, we have your key, so we're going to go ahead and check it over and see if there's anything visibly broken. Or we did notice when we brought it into the shop, it went over the little bump into the shop and the joggle there, and the suspension felt rough. It felt like there was maybe some stiff struts or something, but I don't even know if that's the concern. I've had this happen a few times in the shop. You come to work, there's a car sitting out front with a key in the key drop. They were unscheduled, because we typically do by appointment only here. You have no idea who they are. You have no idea what's wrong. And then you get a call a week later, why haven't you started on my car? It's like, bro, we don't even know why it's here or what's wrong. What do you mean started on it? So unfortunately, it does happen a few times. It's one of the things of running a shop that occasionally you can expect a car to just show up unannounced with no information, no name, no budget. You don't know what we're doing. It does run, it does drive, so we know that part works. It's not a no start situation. So I snagged our in-house BMW guru, Grimes, and we're going to open the hood and not only see if there's anything wrong, but some of the common issues that could be wrong. Are they bad on this car? Well, I know it's a 2.5 liter inline 6.
Yeah, that's a M54. So these are the early E60s. Mm-hmm. The later ones actually had the N52, which was a 3 liter. Mm-hmm. And those were Valvetronic. They had a totally different intake, everything. This is kind of a carryover from the previous generation. Honestly, everything looks pretty dry. Looks like the Vanos line is seeping a little bit of oil there. Yeah. So these are actually known to leak. This is the Vanos oil supply line. It controls the variable camshaft. Oil filter housing gasket doesn't look too bad. It might be seeping just a little bit. Someone's replaced the tensioner. Those are known for going bad. Yeah, so the crankcase ventilation, it's an oil separator, and those drain back into the dipstick tube down at the bottom, and usually you'll see a big old mess of oil. That's seeping just a little bit, but nothing crazy. Power steering reservoir, the O-ring for the cap, those will get smushed over time and they'll leak, but it's in shockingly good shape. Somebody's done the valve cover gasket. They put sealant in all the right places, so no valve cover leaks.
This isn't like the 3 Series with the coolant reservoir that always blows up over here.
Well, they've got the coolant reservoir over here,
yeah,
which, you know, they're plastic, like we've hit on a million times, and those have the tendency to fail. But yeah, this thing's, oh,
that looks kind of milky in there.
Yeah, that might, it could be a head gasket, but also could be internal leakage in the oil filter housing gasket.
It's like a brownish, milky, could be just really old coolant.
Yeah, we'll have to do a, I don't have any, there's a little bit of crud on the cap, but don't have any milky residue or anything inside the oil cap, so. But we'll have to test for head gasket. If we don't see any of that, it's probably the oil filter housing gasket because both coolant and oil run through there. But yeah.
It actually looks fairly maintained under here, at least a little.
Yeah, from the outside, I was expecting very bad, but this one looks okay.
Let's get it up in the air and see what kind of other things we can see. So let's go ahead and take a look underneath, but one thing I can tell is that this belly pan is missing. You can see where the screw holes are. Gone. I don't see anything pouring out or any fluids or anything coming out, which is good.
No, it is suspiciously dry. It does look like the torque arm bushings are a little bit worn. You can see where they're kind of bumping back and forth. I bet they've probably got a little bit of a vibration on the highway. Shocks don't appear to have leaked out.
Nothing loose there.
Yeah, in-link boots are torn. The links are dry.
Yeah. The brake pads look okay?
Yeah, they've got plenty of meat on them. They're about 5 or 6 mil. A little bit of seepage from the rear main, but not really all that concerning. It shocks me that the oil pan's not leaking.
Everything looks okay there. I don't see a blown out strut. Nothing's loose.
All pretty tight.
Brakes are okay. It's not as bad as I thought it would be, kind of like what you were saying.
Yeah.
You were mentioning earlier up through there, like crankcase.
Yeah, so if you look right here, this is where the crankcase vent drains back into the oil pan, and usually this hose will crack and it'll start to leak, and you'll just get oil pouring all down your down the side of the engine. You've got a little bit of seepage up there from the actual crankcase vent. That's just the O-ring on the line up there, but nothing terribly concerning up here.
There should be a pan here you can see.
Yeah. Wonder if they do live on a dirt road, if they've just caught that stuff on rocks and torn it up that way. Not really any leaks from the transmission. Bushings are starting to wear out and tear for the transmission. I'm sure the motor mounts are probably in similar condition.
Probably.
Flex disc starting to crack a little bit, but nothing terrible.
Nobody's hacked off the catalytic converters or anything yet?
No, that's the good thing about BMWs. They tuck the cats way up beside the engine, so it makes it real hard to get to.
Okay, and check these back wheels. Does the struts look okay?
Yeah, that one does. Not too bad. Some bushings worn, but nothing super concerning there. The boot on that link is torn up. That link's probably dry inside.
Yeah.
Axle boot looks good on both sides.
There's a little bit of some sort of a seepage here. It's like waxy.
That's probably the axle seals.
But it's not dripping or anything bad.
No.
The CV boots look okay.
Yeah. The brake pads in the rear looked okay. They're about 4 or 5 mil. End links look good. Yeah, I mean, this thing's got a relatively clean bill of health, especially for the miles and the year. I'm surprised.
I am too. I really was thinking it was going to be completely roached out.
I was thinking the same. I was real worried about what we were going to find, but yeah. So really just a few suspension bushings and wherever that oil's coming from that's in the coolant.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Well, let's get this thing on the ground. Can you imagine that this car actually has a check engine light on?
A BMW?
Absolutely.
With a check engine light?
It's just like the opening
Never
to
seen
every 100% Jake video. It comes on.
He'll love that.
Yeah, it's like every time, it's guaranteed. This one's no exception, so let's get the scan tool out and see what we're seeing with the check engine light. Don't you just love that sound?
The BMW bings and bongs. First generation of iDrive. Just absolutely terrible interface. My my old 7 Series had that.
Yeah?
And that was a nightmare.
I've heard all the discourse about how horrible they are.
That's why Jake upgraded his.
What do you think? What's the bet that your check engine light is on? What do you think it is?
I'm gonna guess probably a lean code or O2 sensor. I mean, given nothing really visual standing out, but could also be, you know, Vanos related. We just did see some crud inside the engine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, overall, the engine that's in the CM54s are super solid. The BMW I drive every day has got 276,000 miles on it, original engine, and it runs great.
And this one has almost 160,000 miles, which is actually pretty high for a BMW.
Oh, got misfires.
Multiple misfires.
Yeah, we got 2, 4, 5, 3, 6. And they're absent, but yeah, it also shows mixture preparation, so it's, you know, air fuel. What is the likely cause here? We'll have to actually do some live data and all of that to determine it, but most likely is either a vacuum leak, which is really common on BMWs, or we've got one or both O2 sensors is bad.
Yeah.
So, and those will cause misfires on these too.
I have a feeling that's probably why this car's here is a check engine light, but
Running rough, I assume.
we don't know for sure yet.
Yeah. There's a couple other factors that could cause misfires, but that tends to be the most common. Sometimes plugs, coil, all of that, but start with the simple stuff first. Things that are cheap to fix.
Yeah.
You know, vacuum leak, smoke test, and go from there.
Alrighty, well, I guess let's go ahead and get all that unhooked, or at least have an idea what the check engine light is on for. So at least we kind of have an idea now of what's going on with this BMW. It has some minor suspension issues. It really doesn't have any major leaks. It does have a check engine light on. It's misfires, like Grimes saw, possibly a vacuum leak or some sort of air-fuel mixture, O2 sensor, something like that. Unfortunately, my hands are tied. What is the customer's budget? I don't know. What are the customer's complaints? I don't know. What is the customer's name? I don't know. I know nothing. I'm not just going to start wrenching on somebody's car and their budget was $300 or something. You really can get in a lot of trouble until you talk to people. So, unfortunately, that's as far as we can go. We'll park it over in the corner. Hopefully we'll get a call today or tomorrow. Say, hey, where's my car at? And say, well, this is what we found, but we don't know exactly what you want to do with it. I think that's probably the check engine light. Because otherwise it probably runs and drives fine. It does have, like I mentioned, some suspension issues, but I doubt they're going to dump loads of money into this thing. It's not in horrible condition, but it's a little bit rough. It's not too bad. So this is Thanksgiving. This car showed up during the week of Thanksgiving. They may have been hoping that by Thanksgiving their car would have been done. Unfortunately, it's going to be after Thanksgiving. It's very likely going to sit here until then. I wish we could jump on this car. Unfortunately, we can't. Some of you have been keeping up on Mrs. Wizard's ways and some of the things she's got going on. She has really cool artwork she's made. This is the second run. It's for sale on eBay. The bids are going up pretty high, so you want to get in while you can for some holiday gift ideas. They're really, really cool. There's a link in the description below for that. If you're curious what kind of tools we use in the shop, check our Amazon affiliates link in the description below as well. Get a small cut. If you buy anything, we appreciate it. Make sure to hit the subscribe button here because we have many more cool videos to come. Hopefully this customer calls here pretty soon. Thanks for watching.